Writing. It's something we do every day with text messages and emails and work projects. But have you ever considered using writing as a tool for transformation and even healing? Well, the woman you're about to meet does exactly that as the writing doula. She is on a mission to help you transform your life and heal with the tool of writing. Welcome to the Goddess Power Show. I'm Elizabeth Ann Atkins, and I interview boss women who help you live bigger, better, and bolder. I am so honored to introduce my dear friend, the writing doula, Linda Jones. Welcome, Linda.
Thank you, Elizabeth. It's good to be here with
You're
you.
welcome. Oh my goodness. We met a zillion years ago when we were both writers at the Detroit News, and we've both gone on to follow our missions to help people live better. And so, Linda, can you talk about how you became the writing doula?
Okay. Well, after transitioning from, it's so good to see you. After transitioning from newspapers, I was freelancing and I started working as a writing consultant. Well, I guess the name writing doula, let's do that.
I love it.
It was given to me by a friend who commissioned me to do a creative writing workshop at one of the community centers in Dallas. And she observed how I worked with the participants. And she was the one that dubbed me the writing doula. And it stuck
Oh,
because it's how I like to see myself in terms of how I work with people. For those who may not know what a doula is, a traditional doula is that person, that woman who assists pregnant women uh, during that childbirth process. Their support, their companion.
mm-hmm,
They help make them comfortable through that process. Um,
mm-hmm,
I'm not a birth doula, although I've assisted in that capacity
mm-hmm.
before. But as a writing doula, this is where the men get to be involved because I am not assisting with anybody in childbirth, but
uh,
I'm assisting them in giving birth to their words.
oh,
And
I love that so much. It makes me swoon. Oh my gosh. Our authors always say writing a book is like giving birth, and it
yeah,
truly
with some
is.
labor. There's labor involved
Mm-hmm,
in writing. It can be an agonizing process,
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
but an exhilarating process too. But that creative people, some people romanticize writing. Oh my gosh, I'm just so inspired, and they don't see behind the scenes we're
Right. Oh my
on the
goodness.
floor
Yes.
trying to figure it all out.
Right, right, right. So,
So
Linda, mhm. One thing that I really, really love that you do, you have such a beautiful, warm, gentle spirit, and that enables you to provide such comfort. And then you bring your writing expertise to the table. Can you talk about the power of writing to heal from grief?
mhm. um, okay, first I'll start from I'll go back and forth. The power of writing to heal from grief. Well, my experience about grief professionally was doing it as a reporter, writing about people who've experienced tragedy, and also being that person in my younger years who wrote obituaries. So I had to interview people who were grieving and providing information to me. Uh, but writing about grief it grew out of my own personal experience and observation. I started having writing workshops about life story uh, and giving people an opportunity to share pieces of their life, with hopes of perhaps writing a memoir, what have you. And with so many of the exercises, no matter what I might have said, so many people would go to something about loss and grief.
Oh,
And this is in life story writing or
wow.
creative writing workshops.
Mm-hmm.
So I decided to have a workshop on writing through grief. And I
Wow.
use that name, writing through grief, and people would get squeamish. I don't want to write about grief. No, no, no. I'm saying this is writing to help you get through grief, to
Yes,
help you
yes,
navigate.
yes.
So those workshops were very, very special,
Mm.
and it appeared, based on what the feedback I was getting from people, that they were very helpful. The other, what I know about the power of writing
Mm-hmm.
through grief also comes from my own personal experience as someone who, well, we've had Mother's Day. I'm mother to my child's spirit, because I lost my child when he was, well, he didn't make it to the earth physically.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Uh, this is more than 34 years ago, and I lost him the evening I was supposed to have him. So I
Oh.
carried him the full term, and I was writing a journal, as a lot of writers or mothers do when they're expecting something. I was recording all the things that were happening during that time that I thought I was going to give birth to my son.
Mm-hmm.
But things happened differently. And I had that loss that was devastating. And the pain, I'm so grateful I can look back and talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
But nobody wants to go through that kind of pain. But I was in that journal was no longer that place where I was documenting events of my pregnancy, but it became a place where I poured my pain.
Oh, chills.
Um,
Wow.
I was remember being in the maternity ward, and the I don't even know how to describe it. I'm a writer, but to hear the sounds of babies crying when you've lost yours, and
Ooh.
they have you in the maternity ward still then. So I'm glad I had the wherewithal to ask for them to move me to another floor. And I asked the priest if he would who came to see me, if he would get the journal from my mother, or my um, someone had it, and if they would get it, because of course I I bought it to the hospital to
Mhm.
continue to record. So
Yes.
it was a different story. So
Mm.
I just remember just writing, writing, writing,
Wow.
dumping, and just that.
Yes. Yes.
And many people don't believe that I have not looked in that journal since. I have not. I
Wow.
have it. It's there for me. It served its purpose as that place for me to dump my
Right.
pain. And maybe
Yes.
one day I'll read it, but it
Mhm.
served such a purpose in terms of stabilizing me. Um, so, yeah.
Wow. So in those moments of extreme grief, the act of writing is like a purge. It
Right.
gets that energy, those words, those feelings like up and out of you onto the page to help you just release it, right?
But
Is that how you felt?
that's how I felt. And when you don't know what to do, that was something for me to do. And I'm glad I had it to do. I've written for many years. I'm a professional writer, but
Mhm.
as I tell people, it wasn't that professional writing or that news writing or that information writing that I needed or used at that time. It was that
Mhm.
writing from the soul. And
Wow.
that's what I do. So I can really speak personally to the benefit of writing. I've also studied writing and its benefits and its health benefits, but
Mhm.
you can speak about things, you can study things, but when you also experience things,
Mhm. Mhm.
combination. I have since to bolster my work, I became certified as a grief recovery specialist.
Wow.
I do integrate those teachings and the things that I've been doing already, and my understanding of writing and the power of writing to assist other people
Mm.
with that.
I love that. And guess what, Linda? That is needed so much right now. There are more than 500,000 American families grieving right now due to COVID
Yeah.
and the loss of life. And so, what's your message to those out there I hope are watching to see that writing can be a powerful tool for healing?
Is to write, but people are blocked. A lot of people are blocked, and they fear writing because of the anxiety of what I call, or what has been called, the red pen syndrome. The teachers who are just really, really,
Red
really
pen
having it.
syndrome.
Yes. So a lot of us are still traumatized by that.
Oh, terrible.
Of course, you remember, if it's not us, it's our schoolmates who were
Yeah.
would get the papers back from the teacher full of, I mean, it looked like abstract red art, right?
Terrible. Shame on them.
And so some of that lingering trauma, or the insecurities from that, or maybe college papers, high school papers,
Mhm.
still lingers. So people may feel that writing is an unpleasant experience for them, or maybe they don't
Oh,
that they're good enough.
yeah.
But you can't look at this kind of writing as
Mhm.
as work or academics.
Mhm.
You look at it as spiritual writing, and
Ooh.
it's something that you can use to help you move through that grief process by
Mhm.
writing how you feel. And
Mhm.
there are things that I take people through who have experienced grief. Some people don't know that they're grieving, because we
Mm.
associate grief with loss of life.
Right.
But it could be a change in situation. It
Yes.
can be when you're getting older.
Mhm.
It can be this pandemic,
Mhm.
grieving, that change from what was normal, getting into a new normal.
Mhm.
So actually, the process of writing down and acknowledging how you feel can be helpful in working through it.
Mhm. Mhm. So, Linda, what does that look like? Do you work with individuals one-on-one? Is it weekly? Is it in a group? Do you give them homework? Do you identify specific things for them so you tailor a program to their needs?
All of the above. All of the above. Recently, like I mentioned, I had the Writing to Grief workshop, but recently I a coaching program. It's called the Rebirth Writing Experience.
Ooh, I love that. The
The
rebirth writing experience. Yeah, sign me up.
Rebirth, you're more than welcome to come. And it's designed for people who are emotionally depleted, because that can cover a lot of things. They can
Wow.
cause of grief, or stress, or experiences as someone who's experienced domestic violence, or just being marginalized as people. So uh, this experience, the rebirth writing experience, is like a transformational expedition where we
Oh,
take
wait, say that again.
a
Did you say
transformational
transformational expedition?
kicks restorative, and
Oh, I love it.
is and it is, and it's I provide an environment to give the person, to allow them to give themselves permission to express. And so the process of this rebirth writing experience is to start them out affirming themselves
Mhm.
unapologetically and
Mhm.
intensely, right?
Mm.
To really kind of prepare the ground for the other kind of work that we'll do to, excuse me, get through some of those difficult things. So you don't want to
Mhm.
start in with maybe the painful kinds of situation, but first let's
Mhm.
remind you of who you
Mhm.
are and how
Mhm.
great you are. And then there is that purging the pain phase.
Mhm. Mhm.
There's writing that addresses that, to where you uh, acknowledge what that pain, what you might be experiencing.
Mm-hmm.
We do things to write you through that. And as a result, hopefully, and oftentimes naturally, there is going to be some release because you are bringing that to the surface and
Mm-hmm.
writing. So if you look at yourself like a garden, and I have them imagine themselves a garden, and we know what depleted gardens look like. Um, they haven't been taken care of for whatever reason. Maybe you just
Mm-hmm.
wore yourself out, taking care of
Mm-hmm.
everybody else and not taking care of yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So you want to start nurturing that garden again. So if we purge those things that have caused us pain or are still causing us pain,
Mm-hmm.
we got the weeds out. So now we have to replenish. We
Mm-hmm.
have to put some good stuff back in the
Mm-hmm.
soul. So we're doing the kinds of aspirational writing, gratitude, and other kinds of things. And also revisiting those positive things that we started out in the beginning with.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of people they struggle with praising themselves. I think it would be
Mm-hmm.
simple. I've done things with people where okay, let's do some things where we're going to praise. I call it ego trip. That phase I call it ego trip. And if you
Uh-huh.
deal with Nikki Giovanni, the great Nikki Giovanni's poem, Ego
Mm-hmm.
Tripping,
Mm-hmm.
it's self-affirmation. Some struggle with that. But I joke about it and I say if I were to say, okay, we're going to do 10 minutes of you berating yourself, go. They would probably wait a minute, I'm not finished. After the 10 minutes, they'd still wait, I'm not finished, dogging myself, right? But
Oh
when
no.
I say I need you, now we're going to ego trip. Now we're going to affirm ourselves.
Oh,
Yeah.
really?
Some feeling that, oh, that's conceited or that's this.
Oh,
Ego is self. We're
wow.
celebrating. Yes. So
Mm-hmm.
that to actually practice, because it's so easy for us to be self-deprecating.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I do it as a joke sometimes with
Mm-hmm.
myself. Oh, I can't believe I did that kind of thing. But
Yeah.
that deeper negative kind of stuff is
Mm-hmm.
damaging. So we're replenishing. So that's
Mm-hmm.
that third. The fourth part is maintaining.
Mm-hmm.
So in that experience, maintaining is now through this expedition,
Oh.
we we have hopefully, I will provide them enough tools to where they
Mm-hmm.
can create and design their own writing practice for
Mm-hmm.
self-care,
Mm-hmm.
something to use that fits their needs. I, as journalists, we like to play with words. So they would have by that time have built a dispensary. Notice the pen in the middle of that word. A
Oh, I love it.
dispensary of
Uh-huh.
writing activities that they can use to design their own.
Uh-huh.
So they will also be writing pen scriptions for themselves.
Ooh, what does that mean?
And that's basically designing their writing practice.
Oh,
So
wow.
what
So,
do I need for me? Okay, I've learned all of this. I have all of this. I have an understanding. I'll teach them about the understanding of the health benefits of writing, because this isn't just writing to pass the time until
mm-hmm.
you happen to feel better, right? That's the intention, but you writing to as you're writing, you're also kicking off those endorphins, the feel good hormone,
Yes, yes, yes.
right?
Uh-huh.
That's sending messages to your system to help support you
Mm-hmm.
in this age or era or whatever it is of COVID and this
Yeah.
pandemic. And we hear a lot of talk about the immune system.
Yes.
This type of writing, that personal expressive writing, nurtures the immune system. It helps to strengthen the immune system. That's been medically proven. Excuse me.
Mm, love that. That's beautiful. So, Linda, what does the word rebirth mean to you in the context of all of this?
It's a it's a regeneration. Excuse me.
Mm-hmm.
It's brand new beginnings.
Mm-hmm.
People say they're stuck oftentimes, right? So how do we get you unstuck? So
Mm-hmm.
it's a rebirth. So it's a flourishing after a decline,
Ooh,
right?
flourishing. That's such a great word, flourishing. Because rebirth is like you've shed all the
Yeah,
pain, the trauma, the grief, the heaviness, and the
right.
rebirth is like blossoming. But your word flourishing, that's powerful. I love
And
it.
that's the goal for the people to play a role in that. Um,
Mm-hmm.
it may not be the end all be all, but
Mm-hmm.
medication can help you.
Mm-hmm.
Certainly, there's medication. I'm not speaking for or against in
Mm-hmm.
this, but this is where you can play a role. Play a part in your own self care
Mm-hmm.
and feeling better.
Mm-hmm.
Um, with this, there's language. I help them with vocabulary, language to help them celebrate themselves or identify where they are with what they may be experiencing emotionally.
Mm.
So, if you ask someone how they're feeling, well, I'm feeling bad. Okay, well, there's different kinds of bad. Is it, are you feeling inadequate or are you feeling defeated? you know. So if we get closer to what bad is, then in the writing, you allow them to acknowledge that that's how you feel without judgment, because that's
Mm.
their honest feeling. I'm
Mm.
feeling, now that we've identified, it's not bad, it's actually, I'm feeling inadequate. Okay,
Wow, inadequate.
right? So if that's how someone is feeling
Mm-hmm.
is important to say, I'm feeling that,
Mm-hmm.
because then that's identifying it as a mood. And moods can change, moods can be changed. So you give them that language because you don't want them to say, I am bad
Mm-hmm.
or I am inadequate. And people will say that about themselves, of course.
Mm.
So you put that feeling in there. I mean, and that's language that makes it an emotion that can be changed. So what
Mm-hmm.
do we do with that? I'm sorry.
No, no, no. The whole notion of creating a whole new language to for your self-talk, first of all, because that will change you within and then you radiate outward with a new confidence. But
Right.
to create a new language is so powerful. And to when something happens when you write, it activates something inside you and the universe, and it just bolsters the effort. So
And it's
it's
using language, and it doesn't really have to be new language, but existing language that people may not have access to, right?
mm-hmm.
So to identify, to use an example, inadequate. So, and they're feeling inadequate. Okay. So let's say right now, I am feeling inadequate. That's more language to say that it's just temporary. I am feeling,
Mm.
right now, I am feeling inadequate. So
Yes.
what do we do that to help move you further? Okay, right now I am feeling inadequate, but that's not what I am.
Hmm.
So they get to acknowledge where they are, but
Hmm.
still right to move themselves forward. And
Hmm.
then what can we say to really move them even further? I am enough.
Ooh, I am enough. That is such a powerful sentence.
So they're
Wow.
acknowledging where they feel, because some people will say, no, I'm feeling fine, I'm feeling fine. They're not. And that just keeps that other stuff in there.
Right.
That doesn't help the purge, if you
Hmm.
so.
Hmm.
That's part of the process.
Wow. Do you have any success stories you can share? No names, of course, but just watching a transformation of someone when they first come to you and then when they complete. Do you just notice a pep in their step or fire in their eyes, or do you see them come alive?
I go by what they say,
Hmm.
what they tell me, and yes, observing. And when they continue to write, um, yes, and what I notice is in the beginning, some of those who are hesitant about saying great things about themselves,
Hmm.
they are really strident about the wonderful things they're saying about themselves later. And in the
Oh.
group, I do individual, but it's
Hmm.
great to have I do intimate groups because they affirm each other too, because if they're ego tripping, they're affirming each other. So the there was one woman, like I said, I have them say, imagine themselves a garden that they want to nurture right back to health. And I said, well,
Hmm.
how's the writing coming? She said, girl, I'm not writing. She says, I'm not doing a garden. I'm growing a farm.
Oh my goodness. Oh wow.
Right. Um, Go
You
ahead.
had mentioned you had them do an exercise, something like let your body parts speak, like if your hair could talk or if your hand could
Yes.
talk.
Yes. What would it say?
Mm-hmm.
What would it say? Because that's a way, once again, of connecting. We don't connect with ourselves enough.
Mm-hmm.
So if my hair could talk, what would it say? Well, for me right now, it would be crickets.
That's a whole nother show because you
That's
said you
another
experienced
show, right?
tremendous joy and liberation when you cut your hair.
Yes. But maybe I would write about crickets, but that have people write, have their body speak. Do not speak on behalf of your body. Don't let, well, my hair said this or my nose said this. No, let your nose speak. It hasn't had a chance to speak all these years, and it may have some things to say to you about its life experience. And that process, going inward and speaking its mind, it's fun, but it also connects you with self. It also is a way to develop emotional intelligence, which is essentially self awareness,
Mm-hmm.
right? And when you
Wow.
consider people who have gone through things, you may never, you don't know what their body parts might have to say.
Uh-huh.
So
Wow.
that kind of exercise. That's why this kind of writing is a spiritual kind of writing, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's a healing kind of writing, but it's also fun.
Uh-huh.
And
Wow. I love it. Can you imagine if you asked your heart what your heart has to say? It would take like 5 years to write all that.
some hearts may say, I'm really heavy right now, or
Oh.
some might say, I'm ready to burst. But it's
Ooh.
about the I. And
Oh.
sometimes I have to redirect people. Okay,
Mhm,
oh, you're
mhm.
talking because it's still that detachment. And oftentimes those body parts get to speak and say things that that whole person might not say.
Right. Oh, wow. I love that.
There was
So
a woman,
powerful.
there was a woman who had experienced domestic violence, and her hair spoke of how this man was pulling her and her owner across the floor. Mhm. Mhm. There was a woman who experienced breast cancer, and her hair spoke of bits of me are falling to the ground.
Mm.
Oh, we're going to the store today to look for something to replace me, you see. So, and she did not say that she had cancer, but it was very clear that something was going on. And then it became clear that it was cancer that
Mm.
she didn't speak about. She didn't have to say it straight out, but her hair shared some things with us.
Mhm. Oh,
So
wow. That is so powerful. That is so profound. I can just imagine a series of essays or short
yep,
stories or vignettes or poems
yes,
written from that perspective.
yes.
Wow, Linda, and you guide them there. How can people get in touch with you to work with you?
By Linda at the Writing Doula. That's
Hmm.
my email address. That's one Linda at
Hmm.
thewritingdoula.com.
Hmm.
I'm pretty active on Facebook, Linda Jones.
Hmm.
I am semi-active exploring IGs, but I'm there. You can
Okay.
find me under Lynn Doula underscore um, Mojo. Lynn
Ooh.
Doula Mojo.
And doula is Doula for those who are
Doula.
unfamiliar.
And I'm also on LinkedIn.
Oh, okay. Excellent. And I'll put the link in the description box to your website here so people can click on it and learn more about what you do because it's amazing.
Thank you so much.
Yes, yes, Linda. Oh my gosh, my spirit sister. I am so, so happy to see you, reconnect with you, coming to us live from Texas. We met in Detroit, and you are doing
Celebrate
amazing
birthdays.
things, touching
Celebrate
lives.
birthdays together. I'm
Yes, we
sorry.
do. We have the same birthday, so we're both July babies, and we both have like really similar gentle spirit type warmth that we love to help people that we share. So,
Thank you. Thank you
Linda,
so
you're welcome. I want to thank you for joining me here this evening and sharing your wisdom. I hope many people decide to work with you because you're doing something so powerful and transformative. So thank you for all that you do, and I wish you the best.
Thank you so much, and continued success to you.
Thank you. Thank you. And
Definitely.
thank you, all of you, for watching the Goddess Power Show. I'm Elizabeth Ann Atkins, and I help women boss up to live bigger, better, and bolder. Please do like the video and subscribe to the channel. Drop a comment if you have something to say or have a question. Please follow me on Twitter at Elizabeth Atkins. And remember, boss up, goddess. You have the power. See you next time.
Bye.
Bye.